Hi Scott Forrest, this is James from the 40 News podcast here. I just wanted to give you the astonishing legend of the British mince pie. I thought you'd find it interesting, so I've just made this video just for you guys, as you need to, you can't miss out on this amazing treat. So, mince pies were first mentioned in 1390 in a English recipe book that was actually printed on scrolls, and it was called a form with an E on the end of cure. And the recipe there talks about minced up pork, boiled eggs, cheese, sugar, saffron and different spices. But closer to what we see today as a mince pie, first kind of was printed in 1615 in the English housewife, spelled Huswife in Old English for housewife. And the recipe there changed the ground pork to ground mutton, and it talks about adding mutton with suet, salt, mace, currants, raisins, prunes, dates and orange peel, which is similar to what we have today, obviously without the meat, but it was still just a general pie in those times, and it took until the 17th century to actually connect the mince pie to Christmas time. Not long after that, of course, Oliver Cromwell came along, and Oliver Cromwell tried to ban the mince pie and Christmas itself, but called it frivolous popish indulgence. And there are still rumours, persist to this day, that the mince pie is actually illegal. So you will even find articles incorrectly quoting that officially the mince pie is actually illegal to eat still now. If it was, I would handeth myself into the police station immediately just to see what the response is. But at this time, there was a rhyme sung in the Middle Ages, and it said, "All the plums and prophets' sons defy, and spice broths are too hot. Treason is a December pie, and death within the pot." So, the first record of the mince pie actually being printed with not having meat in it was printed in 1747 by Hannah Glasses in a book called The Art of Cookery. And the recipe was very similar to what it is today. So it was currants, raisins, apples, sugar and suet being blended together. And then when you've done that, you add lemon and orange peel, and then a little splash of red wine, and then you bake that all together. Although you can add meat to it, she stated, within that recipe. But as sugar became cheaper and cheaper, people just started using that more and the meat less, until it was almost completely eradicated. Now, just some other really interesting little facts and traditions that you may not know about. In the Stuart and Georgian period, you were seen as having very prestige and would show off by having more elaborate shaped mince pies. So people would have different stars and hearts and all these crazy little Christmas shapes or just fanciful shapes, and one was spoken about that blew the party's minds because the mince pies were shaped into jigsaw pieces. So if you could employ these chefs that could create these masterpieces, you would be the talk of the town and have absolute prestige. There is also a tradition and a little fable within the Middle Ages, that a bit of superstition, that they stated if you ate a mince pie on Christmas Day and then you kept eating it for the 12 nights of Christmas, then if you managed to do that, if you ate a mince pie every day for the 12 nights of Christmas, you would have happiness for the next 12 months, right up to next Christmas. I think this year, after the year we've had, that's something definitely that I'm going to try. And as they're delicious, that's not a difficult thing to do. And just the last thing that you American friends may not know is, in the UK, it's tradition that we leave out for Santa Claus. When he comes down the chimney on Christmas Eve and through the night, we leave him out a mince pie and either a little glass of brandy or whiskey by the fireplace for him to eat, and maybe a carrot as well for the reindeer. And obviously Santa always eats the mince pie. He might only have a bite, but he definitely always has a taste. He always has the whiskey and brandy. And now you also know why Santa has a big round tummy. Thank you very much for the show, guys, and I hope you and all the listeners of Astonishing Legends and my own podcast, if you're listening, have a wonderful, beautiful Christmas, Hanukkah, festive season. you know, winter solstice, whatever you celebrate, just peace on earth to all men. And to all, good night.